Why, hello there, YouTube, and welcome to the Killer Comic Show. I'm Tom, and I will be your host this evening, because unfortunately Charlie is dealing with a family bereavement, so he will not be joining us this evening. However, I am joined by the newest member, and probably a cornerstone now, of the Killer Comic Show. I'm joined by YouTube royalty, Triple G. Peter, how are you doing, my bud?
Very well. Excited to do this, Tom. Excited to I'm always excited to catch up with you, to be honest. So nice to see you. We've got some interesting books to talk about this week.
We have actually very interesting books, in all fairness.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what you thought of one of them.
Well, we'll get into that. Let's see who we've got in the chat this evening. So we've got Captain Comics. Ahoy there, my mates and mermaids. I should be all right at saying mermaids. There's probably a fair few down here in Cornwall. Nice to see you, mate. Thank you for joining us. We've got James Keegan. Oh, nice to see you, mate. Thank you for joining us. We literally was just talking about you before we came on, because I was just praising you guys for your most recent endeavor with the horror thing. I think it's really cool, and I was just asking Peter how it was all going, which is pretty cool. Dr. Von Who is in the house. Hello, mate. Nice to see you. Welcome. I heard a little bit about you with in terms of Thought Bubble and turning up in full makeup, which I think is just cracking. Absolutely awesome.
If you want to see something fun, Tom, Dr. Von Hoot has just won a Comic Book Community Award, so he's done a thank you video. And it is hilarious. It's well worth watching. It's a couple of minutes long, but it had me in stitches. It's superb.
Excellent. I shall be doing that's the first thing I'll do as soon as I get off the show. I'll do that. Dan Dixon is in the house. Hello, mate. I up me ducks. Fuzzy Dunlop, everyone's favourite. No one knows what he looks like, but I've got a plan in my head. I've got a picture in my head, and I might have to share it with you all at some point. But hello, Fuzzy. Nice to see you, mate. Ed Vick is in the house. Hello, Ed. And we have Sean, Panels and Half Pint, everyone's favourite superhero. He's here this evening. And we've got Yonko Demands Treats. Hello, mate. Welcome to the show. So that's it. That's it. Well done. Thanks for coming to the show, everyone. That's the end of the show. That's the end of the show. Oh, Leon Russell's here as well. Hello, mate. Good evening and welcome. Welcome to the Killer Comic Show, as we are here most Thursday evenings, but I must have a bit of a housekeeping thing and to apologize for last week's lack of a show. There was a bit of a miscommunication between me and Charlie on whether or not there was going to be one, or who was going to be on it and who was going to be doing bits and bobs. And unfortunately, I took a job instead. So apologies to everyone that came here last Thursday and there was no warning that there wasn't going to be a show. So apologies for that. I will take that one on the chin. You can blame me. You can bend me over and spank my bottom. And if you'd like to see more of that, you can find me on OnlyFans. Anyway, shall we get into the business end of the show? Speaking of ends and bottoms, as it were. Let me just find the intro. So here we go. Dun, dun, dun. I always feel like whenever I hear that every week, I always feel like I'm stuck in an elevator with two geezers. You two geezers, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Right then, guys. So this is the business part of the show that we call where we get a chance to show off some cool covers. We get to have a bit of a banter about it, and nobody wins absolutely nothing other than bragging rights at the end of the year by winning. I think I've already won anyway at the end of the year, so I'm happy. I don't really care what happens, to be honest.
Confident, yeah.
I am. I mean, maybe I'm not winning tonight, but I've won overall through the whole year, which is pretty cool. Now that Andy's no longer with us.
What did you? He's not dead. He's not dead. He's
No,
just not on the
no,
show
he's not
anymore.
dead. He's not dead, everyone. Spoiler.
What did you think of the covers this week? Because I struggled to find some decent ones, to be honest.
To be honest, I honestly thought it was a really, in the nicest way possible, shite week for covers. I thought the covers were really lackluster. And the one that I picked, which we'll get to in a minute, is probably the best one that I could find. That I personally would see on the shelf. As I say this every time, if I see it on the shelf, that's why I pick it as a cover pick. If it draws me in, this is the only one this week that did that for me. And then I saw Charlie's. I was like, how did I miss that one? Because to be fair, that was quite a nice one. Yeah, pretty good. Anyway, these are the covers for yesterday, which is the 6th of December, which is New Comic Book Day. So we will get into them. So starting off is mine. So I've gone for the 1 in 25 Matthias Bergera variant for Transformers issue 3. Now, the reason this one caught my eye is because it's a classic sort of Autobots versus Decepticon cover, but it was more the yellow silhouettes of the characters at the front that completely caught my eye. And I don't know if you know this, Peter, or anyone that watches Transformers or interested in Transformers. They, in the comic book and in the TV show, they tend to project their human forms as like holograms. So I got this kind of awesome nostalgia from this. Obviously, these aren't their holograms. These are the two main characters that are in the books. I think it's one Spike, and I can't remember the name of the girl who's in it. So I think that's those two characters, but it just kind of gave me that feel, like that kind of Energon feel. And I thought, this is quite a cool book. I'm going to pick this one this week. What did you think, Peter?
So I didn't make that link, Tom, I have to be honest, but now you've said it, yeah, it really stands out. But I just like the kind of the muted colours of Prime. Because normally Prime's kind of a bright red, isn't he? You know, it's an interesting colour palette on it. But yeah, I think it's a nice cover. I don't think it's the best of the Transformer covers that we've seen so far, but I do think it's a good cover. There's some stunning covers, mate, from the Transformers run so far.
Yeah. Totally agree with Fuzzy. The second and third printings have much better covers. Agreed. Totally agree with you on that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I like it. It's a nice cover.
It is, and that's how much we love it. We're going to talk about it for 2 seconds, and then we'll move on. So Charlie picked this week. Charlie went for Batman Santa Claus Silent Night issue 1, covered by Ben Oliver Rub and Ben Oliver Rub and Smell variant. Now I'm pretty sure we talked about this on FOC.
I remember that now, yeah.
And we were trying to work out what part of it was rub and sniff. Whether it was his nose and you could smell blood, or whether it was his breath, you could smell whiskey, or, you know, you rub tickle his beard and, you know, you smell something completely
inappropriate.
Inappropriate.
See, I'm going with mince pies. I think you rub
mince
your beard
pies, and
you can smell sweet mince pies. Yeah.
Sweet mince pies, because that's what the kids are calling them these days.
Yeah, not gravy mince pies, but a sweet mince pie. I mean, that's an interesting cover. It's Santa, but it could be a Christmas card, I suppose. It's
yeah. I mean, it could be a crack addict's Christmas card. Yeah,
it could. Yeah, but yeah.
I mean, I think it's a really cool cover, and I like that it's painted, and you can see the brushstrokes in the beard and in the hats, and it's very nice. I think as a cover goes, but I don't know. I think if I saw it on the shelf, I'd be like, yeah, that's cool. I'd pick it up and probably walk away with it or have a look. So that's, you know, intention delivered. You know, you get what you say on your tin from it. It would draw you in, but is it cover of the week, do we think? So,
you know, going back to what you were saying earlier about your cover picks being ones that you'd pick up and buy, I would walk past that in the shop. I certainly wouldn't think, oh, that looks like a cool Batman comic. Do you know what I mean? There's no reference to Batman on there at all. So
no, true.
Yeah, I don't think I would pick that up and even look at it, to be honest.
Also, how do you know it's a rub and sniff?
Well, I mean, I often go in and just smell the comics anyway. So
you often go in and be like, just pick up the comic books and like...
Yeah. And if they smell nice, I give them a little lick. You know, just to see what I say.
And the comic covers, I mean, that's just the staff.
Yeah.
So that brings to War Cover, which actually I thought was... I did. Do you know what, mate? I saw it pop up in the group chat and I thought, is that a Momoko cover? Is Peter a Momoko cover? I'm pretty sure we've had controversial chats about Momoko, but I'll let you crack on with this.
I mean, yeah. I'm going to struggle to sell this, Tom, to be honest. It's a Peach Momoko. I don't normally rate Peach Momoko, but I was struggling to find something I liked. And I spotted this, and it gives us kind of creepy Marvel zombie vibes. I like the vibes. I like the hands. I like it. It's got a bit of a horror kind of look to it. So I was drawn to it. Do I think it's amazing? I'm afraid not. But it is a creepy, cool looking cover, I guess. Excuse me.
Good health and prosperity to you. When you said this and I checked it out, I thought, actually, do you know what? That's a Peach Moco cover. I didn't understand why you picked Peach Moco cover. I know like we said, we've had controversy before. I thought this just reminded me of a scene from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. I
was like, it looks like a Scooby-Doo bad guy.
Yeah.
I thought that's pretty cool, actually. And I think if I saw it, I don't think I'd buy it, but I don't think I'd walk past it. I think I would probably pick it up and have a look. Might check it out, as it were, but I don't know, to be perfectly honest with you, mate.
I'm struggling to sell it. Vote for me, because I'd like that. Would be nice, thank you. But I cannot tell you it's a great cover. I think you've won this one, Tom, if I'm honest.
Possibly. Dr. Von Hoot has just mentioned a cover that I nearly picked, which is the Zatanna cover with her sat on Santa's lap.
Yeah.
I nearly picked that, but then I thought, you know what? PG show and all that.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys,
that's disappointing. Sorry, that's disappointing. Edgar was going to get that one. So there's a Godzilla comic. I don't know if you've seen it, Tom. That when you open it, it's like one of those old greeting cards. It's got like the sound chip inside, and it makes a rawr kind of noise. That's my Godzilla.
Sorry, 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Wait, hold on. One more time.
Okay, right. Rawr. That's Godzilla. Yeah.
That's Godzilla. That. Oh, what have I done here now?
Oh, hey up. That's disappointing if it's rubbish.
Oh, that is a bit disappointing.
Yeah. Ed's saying that he bought the scratch and sniff one. What does it smell like, Ed?
Yeah, let us know, Ed.
Yeah.
We need to know. Does it smell like Rudolph?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, the vote is up, guys. And obviously you've got the votes are for Peter's, which is this one, the Scooby-Doo cover of the century. You've got the scratch and sniff to get Bad Breath by which is Geeky Guy Comics, which is Charlie's pick. And you've got mine, the Transformers in the Wrong Colours pick for Transformers issue 3. So some pretty good comics to pick from this week if you're interested. Personally, I think, just vote whichever one you think is less shit. And we'll go from there, shall we?
It's like levels of shit, isn't it, this week?
Absolutely. Just pick the one you think is less shit to the others. That works for me. Might just win one this week. Charlie might win one for a change.
Yeah. Charlie could. Yeah, let's give it a Charlie this week. He can have the shittest book of the week. That'll be nice.
So everyone, no point voting for me or Peter. You might as well vote for this one, the scratch and sniff, rub and smell, Ben Oliver cover. I think I might change my Facebook name to Rub and Smell. See what happens. Anyway, guys, that brings us to why we are here, which is one of the main I think one of the main reasons we're here is for the cover picks, to be honest, just to have a load of laugh and banter. But one of the main reasons we are here and what we do every week is the reviews. So we are reviewing the comic books from last week. So last week was week 28. 48. So we are reviewing Amazing Spider-Man Gang War First Strike issue 1 and Swan Songs issue 5, if I remember rightly. Yeah. So we're going to get into it. And I think we're starting off with the Amazing Spider-Man Gang Wars First Strike issue 1, written by Zeb Wells, and artwork by Joey Vasquez. Cover A is by John Romita Jr. Cover B is by the Joey Vasquez. And then you've got the Sweeney Boo Spectre suit from the Spider-Man game. And then you've got the Nick Bradshaw 1 in 25 variant. Just wanted to check there wasn't any more before I carry on. I'm going to say I think you should take this one, Peter. Please introduce people, because it was your pick at the end of the day when we were picking comics of what to read.
It was. And
please tell people why you picked it, what got the reason to pick it, and what it's about.
It's nearly Christmas, and I feel that in order to deserve nice presents and nice things, we need to have a bit of punishment beforehand. So kind of penance. So I thought, what can we do? I can make Tom read Spider shit.
Spider shit?
Do you know what? it's not that bad. Spider-Man, I've been trying to read for a while now, and it's fair to say that the Amazing Spider-Man run has been utter crap. A couple of nice issues in amongst it there, but the majority of it was crap. This is the start of the usual kind of Marvel billion-book-wide crossover event, which is Gang War, which feels very similar to me, like some of the storylines we had in Batman not so long ago. Where
Yes,
basically,
like the Joker War.
yeah, all that kind of stuff, you know, where basically a couple of characters have been bumped off, so you believe, at the start of this episode, and then basically all of the different villains in the New York area who've got different territories. I never realised that all had kind of a defined map of where every villain had their own little patch of ground or whatever, but they all basically go to war by the end of it, and it's been kind of set up by this character who you think is dead at the start, and she's done it to basically just cause chaos. So at the end of the issue, Spider-Man basically announces he's going to assemble a kind of a team and control all of this violence and mayhem. What did I think of it? It was okay. It did nothing to float me boat. Wouldn't make us rush back and read I think there's like 40 or something ridiculous amount of tie-ins. Absolutely no interest in reading all of that. I thought there was some interesting bits in it. That page I've picked, I thought that was quite interesting. That's Hammerhead getting his head caved in. It was quite graphic and violent for a Marvel Spider-Man comic. I wasn't quite anticipating him getting so severely beaten, and that was quite a nice little twist, really. I've not got much else to say about it other than it was okay. Do you know what I mean? What did you think?
So, I think there's a horrible thing going at the moment, and it has done for a few years, where Spider-Man has struggled to swing his way back into everyone's lives in a good way. There's been a lot of chops and changes with Spider-Man. He's had a couple of really good artists, really good writers, and unfortunately, nothing's really happened since Dan Slott did the one where he swapped bodies with Otto Octavius. That was incredible. That was a great storyline. That ended a really good era. Nothing has actually come out from that that's any good. I mean, I don't even think the Spider-Verse stuff was that great, which is annoying. So I was like, when you said let's read it, I thought, okay, let's give Spider-Man a go. Let's see what it's all about. Now, for me, Marvel has always been the one where you kind of jump in, read it. It's not going to break any banks or make any awards or be like huge or anything. It's just the love for comics. You read it, you kind of pick it up, you enjoy it. You can walk away from it, so you've got no like massive attachment to it. So I was like, awesome. We'll go in, try Spider-Man, and I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun book. There's a lot of things I was like, I don't understand who that is. I don't know where that is. I don't know what's going on. So I think that they gave you too much credit for reading all the tie-ins that build up to this. So if you haven't read them, there are gaps in the story, but that didn't take away from what was going on. That Spider-Man has kind of left New York to its own devices, and people are really pissed at him for that. And he's become really selfish. So that's kind of cool that they kind of touch on that. Miles Morales has kind of changed his opinion on Peter Parker, and he's like, you're a dick, so I'm not going to help you, basically, which is quite cool. And then the twist at the end, like you said, where it went from being what you would call a standard Marvel comic, where nothing really happens, no kind of badness really happens. It's all kind of like off the pages. Nothing really happens in front of you, to suddenly being a Walking Dead comic where a poor, like, well, I say poor dude, Hammerhead's a bad guy, but he gets his head completely smashed in, and it's not even like a little bit. That panel you've picked is just one of two where you full on see him get smashed in, and it's like, wow, honestly, okay, where did that come from, Marvel? So consider my interests peaked. I am very interested to see where this goes. Is it going to break any awards? No. Is it just another Spider-Man comic that's probably going to fall flat on its ass? Yes, more than likely. But I am up for giving it a go. So yeah,
that's good. I mean, yeah, it's better than some of the recent Spider-Man books, I would say. I thought Miles Morales' dialogue was atrocious.
Yeah, so, his attitude. Yeah.
Not just his attitude. It was, I mean, it's a long time since I've read Miles Morales, but he was very, how can I put it? He was very kind of gangster, and some of the terminology he was using just felt totally out of place. It was weird. I don't know. It just didn't fit with us. But yeah, I'll probably read the main series, but I'll not pick up the tie-ins. I don't think.
No,
it's something that really jumps out at us.
No, not at all. I'll tell you what though, mate. We did miss a trick. I almost put forward High Roller.
Yeah.
Fuzzy said about High Roller. I picked that a couple of weeks ago to read, so I'm gutted we didn't read that. Probably should have read it. Never mind. But what would you give this out of 10, mate? Would you say?
Ooh, 5. It's average. It's middle of the road for me.
I'd agree with that, and I don't think the artwork is breaking any grounds either. So it's not like it's got good artwork that could save its grace, saving grace, as it were. So I would agree with you on that one. I think 5 all round, possibly a 4 for story, probably 5 for art, 4 for story. I'd say. Yeah,
that's fair.
That's fair. So moving on from that one, the one that we were excited about reading, brings us to. On the Instagrams, I think everyone was probably expecting us to be talking about Alice in Wonderland. Unfortunately, none of us could find it. It wasn't on the shelves. So we decided to go on to our second pick, which is Swan Songs, issue 5, by the amazing Maxwell Prince. Artwork by Alex Eckham Lamb. Lawn, sorry, not Lamb. Main cover by him and cover B by Sam Wolf. So the synopsis of this one, it's the end of achenoromnia via therapeutic hypnosis. A man travels through his subconscious to try and find out his inner child and get his way back to happiness again. A comic that doesn't look like any other comic book ever made. This issue is done in full collage art by the spectacular Alex Ekman Lawn. I can't even ask to read the rest of it. Anyway, so the presence behind this is basically this guy goes to see a psychiatrist and he gets put into this hypnotic state, and then they go through his past and try and find out why he is depressed, essentially, and why he's not enjoying life. Now, I'll be honest, off the bat, I thought, I don't know if I can be asked to read this. This is going to be a head scratcher. Then probably 2 or 3 pages in, I was like, this is actually really good. I thought the story was quite good. I didn't really know where it was going. I did think when it got to the point where there's a bit where he finds a safe in a room and he's talking about all the special things and things that he'd kept in the safe. I was like, I know exactly what's going to be in this safe. I mean, it's absolutely obvious that it's going to be a child version of himself. Is going to be in there. But it was good. I thought it was a good comic, good read, well written, I thought. Artwork was fantastic, and some of the collages really blew my mind, especially like some of the ones where like his brain's basically spilling out and then it's like a tree, and then it's like all the letterings and stuff like from a murder mystery thing, which is really cool. And then you kind of find out all a bit more about the character and kind of what he's gone through. And do you know what annoys me a little bit about these Swan Songs? But also is quite nice about them is because they're such standalone issues. There's no like prequels, or there won't be a sequel to it. It's literally just a standalone story, which is kind of what Maxwell Prince is all about. It annoys me because I really want to know the rest of his story.
You want to.
Do you know what I mean? I'm chomping at the bit now to find out what happens to this geezer. But I thought it was really good. Again, same as the comic we just had beforehand. I wouldn't say it was going to break any grounds. It's not a revolutionary comic. It's not going to get the golden seal at the end of the year. But I thought it was good. Better than the last one. What did you think, mate?
So I really enjoyed this one. So this for me, well, what I would say is I think I've had to read it 3 times because a lot of Maxwell Prince's work goes over my head. And I don't know if it's just because I'm not intelligent enough to understand some of the kind of the background to the stories and whatnot. So I read it at least 3 times just to try and really understand what I thought was happening in it, you know? And I just thought it was great. I just thought it was great. So the title of it, I can't remember what the title is. Is it adenosis or I can't remember.
Adenophobia or something, or anosis, or something like that.
So I looked it up to see what the hell it meant because I'd never heard that word before. And basically, it means the end of not being able to find any joy in anything. So
okay, that makes
you've got no
sense.
joy in anything. And that's exactly what the story is about. It's about a guy who's getting to the stage in his life where the world, I think, has just crushed him and beaten him down. Much like you, I was trying to work out all the way through where I thought this was going. At one point, I thought there was going to be a bereavement that made him feel like this. I got the impression by the end of the book that his parents had separated, and that might be a factor in it. But basically, it's a story of him struggling with depression, lack of emotion and feeling, and it's his hypnotic journey to reconnect with his past. And by the end of the story, he's kind of done that, and you see him go to the sweet shop and pick up some sweets and things.
It's so cool, that bit, yeah.
My favourite bit in it is the page I've picked there, which is the one with the guy and his younger self running. And it's just the narrative of it, and it's basically saying, you know, no thinking, no internalising, intellectualising, just do it, just run. And I think I don't know what you're like, Tom, but I'm a big overthinker. And that page really shone to me. It's basically just saying, just forget it. Just stop worrying about shit and just do it. Do you know what I mean? And that really kind of hit me a little bit. So yeah,
man.
it's an emotional book, this one, I think. Particularly if you've ever had any kind of depression or low moods and things like that. I think it could mean a lot when you read it. But yeah, it's a nice one. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. The artwork is stunning.
My inner PT / coach is kind of kicked in slightly here. So statistically, 80% of the things that you worry about won't come to fruition. 80% of the things that you worry about will not happen to you. 15% of the other things that you worry about won't be as bad as you think they'll be. Yeah. Which means 5% of the things that you're really stressed out about are actually going to be as bad as you think they are. Yeah. That's 5% of the things you worry about. So, in all fairness, stop worrying about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's kind of the I think the message of this book a little bit. I think the only thing, and I don't know how you read it, because I think Maxwell Prince is an absolute genius.
Yeah,
at making the story quite open to interpretation depending on how you read it. But you've picked that last page there, which is kind of the bit where he's bought the candy, he's looking at the kids and he's saying, you know, just enjoy your life kind of thing, and he looks happy. And then you get that collage picture at the end with the weird kind of writing, and that to me was saying that this was a momentary bit of peace and happiness, and his brain's kicking back into, because you know, if you don't fight this all the time, your brain kicks back in and very quickly goes back down that rabbit hole of negativity.
I would agree with you on that. I think that's what it's basically saying, is you've got to constantly go back and like reiterate to yourself that, you know, you are okay. Yeah. Depression is a thing and you don't really ever get rid of it. Once you've got it, you don't really get rid of it. It's just a case of coping with it and putting those things in place to cope with it. I mean, I think there's a beautiful bit where he opens up the safe. The kid comes out and he's like, what brings you joy? And he goes, everything.
Yeah.
Everything brings me joy. Like nothing doesn't bring me joy. And you think about when you're a kid, everything does bring you joy. And then as you become an adult, you then start worrying about things that don't really matter. Like, what do people think of me? You know, are people going to judge me for what I'm currently wearing? You know, if I go down the street, will I get hit by a bus? When you're a child, you run out into the street, regardless of whether there's a fucking bus coming or not. You just run for it, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously you do have to worry about buses when you go out the street, but you get my point of the whole, the kid's basically saying, I loved everything, you know, the grass on my feet, you know, going around on the Ferris wheels, all that sorts of things.
And I mean, that's the cleverness of the book, really, because at the start, it starts by him saying, you know, I hate roller coasters and things like that. And then the kid, when he says, you know, I love everything, and then he immediately says, do you remember when we used to go and ride the roller coasters and it was so much fun? So showing that he had that passion, that love and that enjoyment, but for whatever reason, life's just kind of beating it out of him.
I reckon I've seen Harry the Hammer at some point. That's amazing. So, right, so go on then, mate. Give me a 1 out of 10, as it were.
I'm going to go an 8 for this. It was a good, enjoyable book. Yeah,
nice.
And I thought the art style was great.
I will match you ish. I'm going to go 7 on this one. I'm not going to entirely agree. I'm going to go 7, and I think the reason I'll go 7 is, like you said, there's a few bits where I was like, I don't know if I'm intelligent enough to understand what the depth is for this bits and bobs. But story was really good. The standalone part of it was great. I just kind of wish there was another issue so we could find out whether or not he does manage to get control of his depression. But I guess, like you said, it's open to interpretation. Like all good books should be, really, I suppose, open to interpretation, and then you can go away and fill in the blanks.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the series as a whole, mind. Swan Songs. It's been quite. I mean, I think Maxwell Prince's his work is stunning. Anyway, I love Ice Cream Man. Haha, I loved. And he's got that ability, particularly with Ice Cream Man, to turn one book from absolute kind of horror to the next book is something like this, which is like heart-wrenching, and he's a very switched on guy. Very,
very switched on. He knows what he's doing, doesn't he? And he's got his audience, and he plays to his audience, I think, which is great. He's not one of those writers who kind of finds an audience, then has to change his style to get another audience. He knows what he's doing, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Anyway, moving on. There is no FOC this week, guys. Unfortunately, none of the comics were released or updated for us to pick from this week. So unfortunately, there isn't an FOC this week. So we're just going to go straight into the Killer Indie picks for December the 13th, which isn't next week. It's the week after. So if you're interested, you want to get any of these books, get onto your LCS and then pick them up. So first off is mine. I've picked the Mad Cave comic. I've gone for Charred Remains by Anthony Cleveland and Andrea Mutti. Now, this one is probably a little bit too close to the home for me, being an ex-firefighter, but I liked the premise behind it. So it basically says, a dark entity made of fire, smoke, and ash, the fireman, blazes through a young girl's home, killing her entire family. Amy Durant swears she saw this supernatural creature, but no one has ever believed her. Unfortunately, these past fears reignite as a decade later as the city goes up in flames. With no one else to rely on, Amy is forced to battle both past trauma and to face the inferno as a firefighter.
That sounds very interesting, and I'm loving that cover. It looks absolutely stunning.
Doesn't it just? And I love the fact that she becomes a firefighter to try and find out whether this fireman is real or not. So cool.
Yeah, I like the look of that. I like the... I've not read much of Mad Cave comics. I've not seen many of their books.
Anthony Cleveland, I think he wrote a... I think it might have been something... Horns? I can't remember what it's called now, but it was pretty good. Right. I remember it being like a fantasy thing. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
So cool. Mad Cave do some good stuff. Next up, I don't know whether this is yours or Charlie's.
It's mine.
But it sounds awful.
It sounds tremendous. Tremendous.
It sounds
so
tremendous.
This is Beneath the Trees by IDW. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. It's by Patrick. I can't do names, Tom. Horvath.
That's fine, mate. Horvath.
Yeah.
To be fair, mate, we can see it butchering the names with each other. It's fine. Just say what you feel. Yeah. Say what you see.
This is issue 2 of this mini run, and it's the first issue sold out and went nuclear. It's apparently a superb series. I've got it, but I've not actually read the first issue yet. But it just looks right up my street. I mean, that cover is just freaky beyond belief, which I absolutely love. The synopsis basically says, horrified to learn that she's not the only serial killer in Woodbrook, and insulted, frankly, by the rookie's flair for the dramatic, Samantha hits the pavement to silence the competition before they ruin her quiet, perfectly curated life. So it's about serial killers, but they're all kind of animals. They're like animal characters, like Wind in the Willows, but with mental people, I think, killing people and
so Wind in the Willows meets Hannibal Lecter, basically.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm there for it. It sounds amazing. Do you know what I mean?
It sounds incredible, actually.
That cover looks great. So yeah,
I reckon I've seen that girl in a few bars over the years.
Yeah, she was in Weatherspoons that Thought Bubble a few years back.
Oh, definitely. Is she the one Charlie was chatting about?
Yeah.
Looks very familiar. Awesome. I might have to read this.
You're not a big horror fan, but are you?
I don't know. I'm not a big horror fan, no, but I've said this a fair few times. I'm not massively interested in horror. However, I have dipped my toe into the horror pool a few times and enjoyed it, if I'm honest. Saw was a horrible movie. I didn't really like that. But there's a few horror comics I think we've read, and Andy is like introduced me to, and yourself introduced me to, that I've read and then gone, oh, do you know what? That ain't too bad actually. So yeah, okay. I might
Well, I'll read the first issue and I'll let you know what I think.
Yeah.
Whether I recommend
Give me an honest review, and then if you like it, I might not read it.
Yeah.
If you hate it, then I'll read it.
You read it. Yeah. That sounds fair.
Absolutely.
That sounds fair.
Sounds fair. Right, next one up. I guess this is Charlie. We spoke about this a couple of months ago, didn't we? On FOC, or possibly as an indie pick. Must have been an FOC.
Yeah.
But this is Guma. This is the beginning of her, and I think this is written by a forgive me for it, South Korean, and it's a South Korean folklore. It might have been me actually. Is this cover is In Hook Leo, isn't it? I believe. So this is by Titan Comics, and I'm pretty sure this is around a South Korean folklore. So it could be quite an interesting one to read. Again, one for you probably, Peter.
Yeah, the cover's given us chills. It's I don't know what it is about it. It's given us kind of the Ring vibes, you know.
It's the dead eyes, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's those kind of like,
and I think the collarbones as well. Do you know what I mean? Just like emaciated look to her.
Emaciated. Oh god, what a word! Emaciated. She's just got that emaciated. Like, you know, not many Instagrammers that'll be like, check me out with my emaciated look.
I'm geek clever. I'm Geordie. We know all the good words. Do you know what I mean,
mate? All the good words. Why I pet and all that.
Why I man?
Why I man? Yes. So that's that one. I'm assuming that's Charlie's pick. Oh, that's it. It's only 3.
Is that it?
Charlie normally picks an extra one.
Yeah.
Oh, I apologise. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Half an hour. Wow.
We're slick. We're getting slick.
We're so slick, mate. We just completely... Those people that normally join us for the end of the show, like with an hour in, they're going to be like, where the fuck are they?
Look at how many comics you've got on that. But I'm on the board now. Oh, that's nice.
Mate,
but
that's
look
what
at
I mean.
how many comics you've got there.
Do you know what? Charlie's not updated this because you've had a couple of wins, so you've not managed to get on the leaderboard, as it were. But yeah, there you go. So we will end the vote. Actually, do you know what? Let's come back. We'll leave the vote running just for those of you who might not have voted, who might be joining us later. So we'll leave that running for a minute. And Peter, explain to people where they can find you on the old interweb and what you're up to. Explain a little bit about what you're up to.
So I am over on YouTube and Instagram and one of the other ones. Don't know what it is. Snapchat or something. I don't know.
X, is it now? Twitter?
X, yeah, Twitter and stuff. All is Triple G Comics, comic books, toys, all that kind of stuff. My other YouTube channel is One Good Scare Show with James T. Keegan. That's all horror-based content. I've got a load of videos out. I've got a video coming out tomorrow, which is a 1/6 scale Doctor Doom figure. We've got our One Good Scare review of Silent Night, Deadly Night. That's a good film, Tom. You like that? That's a movie from the 80s in which a guy sees Santa Claus murder his family. So he grows up to be a bit like yourself, a big buff kind of man's man, except he's a nutcase and he's obsessed with Santa Claus and he dresses up as Santa and goes around and murders everybody.
Nice.
So it's a nice Christmas story, you know. But
Sounds fucking incredible.
But
lovely Christmas story.
So worth watching. Saturday night, I've got my Saturday Night Live show, and then on Monday night we have got our top 3 and 1 worst scenes from MCU Phase 3. So that's the end of the Infinity Saga. So picking the best moments of that and the worst. So lots going on.
That sounds amazing, mate. So those of you who are new to the show or who have stumbled upon us on the old YouTube, please head over to Peter's channel. That is Triple G Comics, and sub him up, and also sub up to the horror comic. What's it called again, Peter? Horror. It's only horror.
One Good Scare Show. One
Good Scare Show. Please sub up to both of those 2 things, and show Peter some love. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me on Not Quite Mint. It's not very active at the moment. I'm not really showing off any of my comic collection or anything. I'm currently working with my PT Instagram more, which is Tom Mailing PT. So if you're interested in any fitness stuff or you want some advice on doing something in the new year, any fitness challenges, or you just want some help with habit change or even just a little bit of advice, I can give you some advice completely free. I mean, it's not going to cost you anything. If you want a personal trainer, it will cost you something. But if you want some advice or you want some help with goal setting or even like just a few habit changes, DM me. We can chat. I'm there for everyone. I'm all about kind of passing on good vibes, as it were. That's what I'm about. You know, make it your day to make someone else's day, essentially. If you want to follow Charlie, he's over on Geeky Guy Comics, both on Instagram and on X. And if you want to follow us all round, the Killer Comic Show is also on Instagram and X. We really need to change these things because it's not Twitter anymore, is it? No. It's now X.
Just before you move on, Tom, can I just say I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm not going to lie and say I've managed it, but I have been trying, which I think is
good. Man.
I've been trying to do your daily challenge, and it's nearly killing us. But I'm doing a little bit every day.
Good man. Well,
it's great.
The idea behind it is, like for those of you who have seen it, then you'll know what I'm about to talk about. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'm currently running a Christmas challenge. So essentially, you're going to do a exercise per what you would have on your plate at Christmas. So I've chosen 6 pieces of food that you have on your Christmas dinner. So you've got your turkey, your pigs in blankets, your sprouts, your carrots, and your parsnips. So that's what you've got. And then what I've done is I've given you squats, push-ups, burpees, good mornings, and hip thrusters to cover those things. And then each day, as we get towards the 25th, is to do one of those, to do all 6 of those and a rep. So like you'll do day 1, you did 1 rep of each thing. And then day 2, you do 2 reps and progressive overload. And eventually you're doing 24 reps of each movement on the day before Christmas. And it gives you that idea of like doing something different and kind of doing something good for your health. So on Christmas Day, you can have completely guilt-free. I mean, most of us can have guilt-free anyway without doing any exercise, but it's just to offset that kind of feeling of, feel a bit, we all feel a bit groggy on Christmas Day. So it's kind of just to offset that. So if you are interested and you want to give it a go, head over to my Instagram and check it out. For those of you who do it, you haven't got to do it all. You haven't got to do, day 15 and then, carry on until day 25. You can just do day 1 and then tag me in a video of you doing it, or even just comment on one of my videos saying that you've done it, and you could be within a chance to win free personal training with me for a month and a t-shirt from Pasty and Pull-Ups. I can't say fairer than that. And also it gives me a chance to give back to people who want to be involved in stuff that I do, which is kind of why I'm doing it. Anyway, it looks like Connie's here. Hello, Connie.
Hi, Connie.
Yeah, Connie. That brings us on to this. We'll keep the votes going now that Connie's here. It can stay. She can vote for me and I can win.
Vote Peach Momoko, Connie. Peach Momoko's the
Peach Momoko.
Peach Momoko.
Peach Momoko. It sounded a bit Jamaican as well.
Jamaican, was it?
Jamaican.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go on to the sneak peeks, mate. So next week, we've decided that we're going to put these books up for the votes. Hopefully, Charlie will get it running tomorrow if he's got time. So I've gone for, obviously, Transformers issue 3. Peter, which one was your choice?
I mean, to be fair, I would have gone for Transformers as well. If we don't get the vote to read that, I'll kick off. I went for a kick off.
Wow.
I went for Thunderbolts, and purely because we've got the new movie coming out. I love the concept of Thunderbolts, and it's the narrative around this one is the Red Skull must die. So I'm a sucker for an issue 1. Give it a go, see what it's like. I don't know what the team is. I don't know who's in it. I do quite like, the Winter Soldier. So yeah, it's an issue 1. Interested to give it a read and see what we think.
I'm interested to read it. I mean, for me, Thunderbolts was peaked for me during the Dark Reign series after Civil War, when you'd got Penance and Luke Cage and Venom. It all peaked a little bit there for me. I thought that was the best Thunderbolts team they had, especially because you'd got like you'd got the villains that were trying to be good, and then you've got the villains that didn't really care.
Yeah, Bullseye was in that as well, wasn't he? Was it
Bullseye was in there? Yeah, well? Dakin was in there. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a sucker for the original Thunderbolts run.
Yeah, man.
Because I still remember the shock end to issue 1 and that kind of, Jesus, what have they done here? This is phenomenal,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just interested in issue 1. Give it a go, see what it's like.
Absolutely, mate. Well, those are the two books you can vote that me and Peter have picked. And then you've got Kill Your Darlings.
Kill Your Darlings. So
Kill Your Darlings.
That's issue 3 I've read.
I thought it was an in. I thought that 3 was an and.
Lings, yeah.
Kill Your Darlings. Sorry.
The first issue of this was tremendous. I've not caught up with issue 2 yet, but this is the one I think I might have talked on the show, where basically the young girl's got an imaginary world.
Yes, I do remember.
Make-believe characters and things like that, and then one day she goes back and everything in the imaginary world's been slaughtered, and it's incredibly graphic and blood everywhere. And the issue ended with a house being set on fire and her mum dying, I think. But it's all about witchcraft and stuff, I think, because there's a kind of a flashback scene at the very start of them burning some young girl as a witch. So yeah, it's an interesting concept. I need to read issue 2 and find out what it was like. Or Bones Dust. I haven't got a bloody clue. I don't know anything about that.
No, nor me. But I'm pretty sure this was on, might have been Charlie's FOC or my FOC. So I think it's going to be a good one, whichever one. To be fair, I'd be happy to read any of these 4 books. Yeah. So just go and pick Transformers. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll happily read Transformers.
So then, Peter, I'm just going to take this away. And we're going to do pickups, and then we'll come back to the cover of the week. So, have you got any pickups, mate, that you would like to share? How sharing's caring.
Speaking of Transformers, I've got a Super 7 Optimus Prime.
Wow.
This
cover.
So this is the Super 7 Prime. You get his blaster, his energon axe. You get the Matrix of Leadership, which I'm assuming goes into his chest plate. 2 different head sculpts, which is interesting. I'm not sure why you get a basketball, but you get a basketball. And you get, I can't remember, was it Spike? I can't remember what he's...
It's
Spike's his son, isn't it?
Yeah, Spike's his son. So is that's Sparkplug?
Yeah,
Sparkplug?
yeah.
Sparkplug, and then Spike, and then Daniel is the next one.
So yeah, I'm going to open that up, have a bit of a play with that, and that'll go with my Prime collection. I've got about 8 or 9 different versions of Optimus now.
That's very cool, mate. So it's my favourite. So the head sculpt on that, there's 2, did you say? So is one comic book, one animated?
So I'm not sure. So I was looking at that. One's So one's animated, I think, and then the yellow-eyed one is the original toy, isn't it? I'm sure the original toy had kind of yellow eyes.
Good shout, yeah.
So I think that's probably what that is.
I love that they put his energon axe in there. I love that it looks... Did it transform into the pickup? No.
I don't think so. I mean, I'll try.
Right, I'll give it a good go, mate. Do you know, I've got a friend of mine who I used to do the Transformer conventions with. He used to get really offended by any Transformers that came out that didn't transform. He's like, it's not a Transformer. It doesn't transform. It literally is just a robot. It's not a Transformer. Very and he used to get really upset about it. And I just used to, every time one came out, I'd buy it and I'd send it to him. I'd be like, there you go, mate. I've had a few bits of robots sent back to me in the post. So I've got one pickup.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've discussed this before, that I'm trying to collect any issue 1s or first appearances of TV programs I grew up watching, or like, characters that I really enjoy. And it's mainly for kind of like a bit of like an archive for later on in life that I can then talk to my kids about characters and stuff. So do any of you guys remember King Arthur and the Knights of Justice that used to be on Channel 4 in the mornings, where it was basically an American football team, and then they get dragged into the life of King Arthur, and they become the Knights of the Round Table.
That's the one I've never heard of.
It's a really shit 80s cartoon, but basically this American football team, they end up getting travelled into the Middle Ages, and their opposition team do, and then they end up becoming part of this witchcraft. Arthur becomes King Arthur. His whole team, they all become Knights of Justice, and the bad guys, they all get cool. But they all end up with really cool helmets and really cool like get-ups and stuff. So I loved it for that reason. But yeah.
Sounds a little bit Visionaries. Is it that?
It's that kind of thing, except for like they've not got any technology.
Okay.
Visionaries is better, 100% better. Yeah. I mean, Visionaries is just... I really hope they do that with the Transformers. Like we were discussing about like the Energon series becoming Mask and then there being some kind of EMP, and then the mask dies and ends up in the Visionaries era. That would be sick.
Yeah, I'd love to see a big crossover like that. Tell you what else I was reminiscing about the other day. Don't know if you remember it. Ulysses. Do you remember? Did you ever watch that?
Ulysses, no.
Ulysses. Oh, it's tremendous, amazing, banging theme tune. But
Wait,
it was,
sing again. Hold on, wait.
No. I shouldn't have done.
One more time.
Ah, come on. Excuse me. Ulysses, flying through all the galaxies. Yeah, that's it. Surely you've seen that.
No, but now I feel like I have to go and see that. That is by far my favourite thing that I've done all week. Ulysses.
Watch
Ulysses.
I think it's Ulysses 31. It starts off with like a kind of a voice saying it is the year 3000 and Ulysses has been cast upon. And then when the music kicks in, it's tremendous. It's amazing. Yeah.
I love that. Dr. Von Hoot's going to clip this. Yes, mate. Love it. Ulysses. Oh, mate, that was so good. The votes has now been closed. So in bottom place, last one is Peter with 28%.
That's fair. I can't be cross about that.
No. And in joint first place is me and Charlie with 35% each, which is cool. I'm glad I left the votes open because he was winning. So someone's just come in and nipped in. Thank you, Connie.
Yeah. Very good.
So that actually brings us to the end of the show, as it were, guys. Thank you ever so much for joining us for an hour this evening. Normally it's longer, so apologies for those of you who turn up at the end of the show and find out that you've got to watch it on the rewind. Apologies for that. Anything else to add, Peter, before we leave for this evening?
No, just another fun show. Look forward to catching up next week, and hope we can fudge the vote, can't we? So we'll read Transformers, surely. Come on.
Well, it's our show, mate.
Yeah.
We'll just read Transformers.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone that wants to vote for the comics next week, but we are reading Transformers and then one of the other three.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
think what we should do, we should both go, and we'll get Charlie, we should go and we should all watch Ulysses 31, and then we should do a live reenactment of the theme tune, all three of them.
Mate,
singing
I'm
it.
there. I'm right there. That's it. Next week's show planned. We're gonna remake
Sing along a
the Ulysses. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm so good. Do you know what? I think there's a show there, mate. 80s theme tunes remade by the Killer Comic Show.
Yeah. You remember when I did
Thundercats.
when I did what do you call it? Defenders of the Earth, but with you guys.
Oh mate,
that's still on the channel somewhere. Yeah.
No, mate, that was so good, to be fair. I think I got called good looking, I think, in that one. And
his jawline's a legend.
His jawline's legend. Not anymore, mate. Its beard is making it a bit longer. Anyway, mate, I think we should let these lovely people go back to their Thursday evening and enjoy what's rest of it. Thank you again for joining me. As always, Peter, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to everyone in the chat who's joined us. Thank you to those of you who are watching on the rewind, and thank you to those of you who have stuck around for the hour. It does actually mean a hell of a lot to me and Charlie and Peter that you guys turn up here every Thursday night. Again, apologies for last week. But it does mean a lot that you guys turn up because it makes it worth doing, to be perfectly honest. Even if only two of you rock up, it does make it worth doing. We don't do it for anything other than just have a laugh with each other.
Shits and giggles.
Absolutely, mate. So on that note, make it your mission to make someone else's day better. And stay safe, stay geek. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.